It's not one where I'm trying to prove to you some truth that if only you'd believe it, everything would be different. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm looking to plant a seed. And that seed, depending on where your mind is at the moment of listening to this, might be fertile soil, and this idea might completely take off and transform. You might have even heard of or been familiar with some of these things. And all we're doing is reinforcing and watering ideas that have already been serving you. And for some people, these ideas, the way you've been thinking up until now, again, not right or wrong, good or bad, it's just not really fertile soil for these ideas, and they might take longer to grow, to impact your life. Then just allow yourself to be confused and listen anyway. Welcome to the Artful Dollar. I had an idea to do an episode of this podcast that I want everyone who listens to it to start making more money and saving more money and having more financial freedom just by the very nature of listening to the episode. That's the challenge I'm giving myself. You will have to be the judge and let me know if this episode actually changed something really true and tangible in your life when it came to the amount of money you made, the amount of money you have saved, opportunities that come into your life. And so let's play a game, right? That's my bet. I'm wagering. You, as the listener, don't have a whole lot to lose besides the next 40-ish minutes or however long this is going to take. And you have everything to gain. So why not play this game? Like, all right, Ryan, you say that I'm going to make some more money by listening to this episode. Let's try it out. Let's see. Not much to lose, everything to gain. I like those odds. Today I'm going to talk about manifestation. And I'll start by saying that one of the things I love about tattooing, one of the things that always drew me to tattooing, was that it cannot be bullshitted. A good tattoo is a good tattoo, or it's not. And you can't fake it. You can't lie about it. You can't trick or manipulate someone into believing a bad tattoo is a good tattoo. It just is or it isn't. And I really enjoyed that hard, factual, like it's in front of me, I can see it, and it is or it ain't. And I think that a lot of tattoo artists, myself included, are very skeptical people. And we like that tattooing, it's black and white, it's good or bad. Now maybe there's levels to that, but I think we all like that. And so the topic of manifestation is something that I have struggled with for over a decade. It's something I'm really fascinated with, but I'm constantly like, how do I explain this in a way that my seemingly logical, rational brain can accept, and in a way that your seemingly logical, rational brain can accept? And at the end of the day, like tattooing, the proof is in the pudding. Does meditation, does reciting affirmations and mantras and doing the internal work and the nervous system work and understanding how reality functions at a quantum subatomic level, do all these things at the end of the day, does it make my life better? Does it make me happier? Do I actually have more money in the bank? And am I able to create the life that I really want? Or is it all shit? Is it all bullshit? So that's the question that we're here to answer today. And I believe that through asking that question and answering that question, and with a little exercise that I'm going to have you do at the very end of this, you're going to do it with me on the podcast together. It'll be very short, about roughly 6 to 7 minutes long exercise. I believe that by the end of this episode, you will have no doubts that you can put these very simple exercises into practice. You can start to shift the way you look at the world. And from that new perspective, you will see new things, new opportunities will arise. That is the very nature of what a new perspective does, is it gives you new things become available to you in your vision, in your sight. And that will have a long-lasting positive impact on your life for free in one podcast episode. Cool? You game? All right, let's play. So, anyone that has gone down the manifestation tunnel, first of all, let's get something real clear. I was about to dive down into a quantum tunnel, but before we even get to that, let's get really straight. There is no such thing as practicing manifestation. That's not a thing. Because you are always manifesting your life being the way that it is right now. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go manifest this. It's like, no, you're always constantly, by the very nature of being where you are, thinking the thoughts, speaking the words, taking the actions that you're taking, you are actively manifesting everything to be exactly the way it is right now. Look at your life. You created this life. Now, we can give our power away and we can say, well, it's because my father did this and the teacher did that and my boss did this and the economy and the president and da-da-da-da-da. That's fine, and you're probably right, except you won't be happy. Now, I've learned this lesson the hard way, a long time ago, but you can either be right or you can be happy, but you often can't be both. And if I had to choose, I would rather be happy than be right. So I can blame all these things. I can get into my whole backstory, and I struggled with mental illness as a child. I was first admitted to a psychiatric hospital when I was 10 years old. I was suicidal. I later went on to go through treatment-resistant depression and bipolar disorder. I had 12 treatments of electroconvulsive therapy. I was put in special education schools where they drugged me up on Thorazine and Haldol and Lexapro and Seroquel and Risperdal and Depakote and all of the antipsychotic and mood stabilizer drugs. I was spit out of the system that did a terrible job of curing me, but did a pretty good job of keeping me alive. I was spit out as a hollow husk of a human being when I was like 18, 19 years old. I left the system and I didn't know who I was. And I was terrified of the world, and I was 70-ish pounds overweight. And I didn't know how to draw, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I could blame all that stuff easily. My parents never taught me about money. I don't come from a wealthy background. I come from like a middle class. My mom's an artist. My dad is a therapist, an unlicensed therapist. He's more of a consultant, let's say, philosopher, if you will. I don't come from means or backgrounds that you can point to and say, oh, that's the reason why Ryan was able to, build a large company, a successful tattoo business, and, achieve all the success. I could easily blame everything for why that couldn't happen. If I were to blame all of that, I could have just as easily manifested a life that was outside of my control, where I was a victim to my circumstances, and I would have been right. I would have been able to blame the system for being fucked up and not being able to give me what I needed, the support and whatever, my mental illness, right? Or I could say, all right, despite my circumstances, anything's possible. Like, really, in the realm of possibility, anything's possible. We've seen people come from horrific backgrounds. We've seen people come from extreme poverty with no privileges inherent to them or their life, and build incredible fortunes and companies and businesses that made a huge impact, positive impact on the world. So if someone else with more hardship, facing more hardships than I ever had, with less privileges than I had growing up, was capable of accomplishing such feats, then there's really no reason, good reason, why I can't or you can't, except for the reasons that we give power to. So I took a look at my life and I was like, all right, let me just look at the way in which I observe the world. And I saw all of these limiting beliefs, which I've done episodes on, that did not serve me. And I want to give you a thought experiment that I did a similar one of when I was younger. So let's say we have two tattoo artists. They're identical twins. They both do the same style of tattooing. In fact, they've been tattooing. They have the same apprenticeship. They're the same age. Genetically, they're the same. And the only difference between them is that one of them hates money, thinks the idea of marketing is slimy and icky, and sales is just bad and manipulative. And the other one thinks that money is fascinating. They're curious about money. They think the world of marketing is about expressing yourself and creating opportunities for people to invest in themselves. And they think that sales is a fascinating psychological art form, and that, in fact, everything we do is sales to one degree or another. We're selling ourselves or someone else on some idea, opportunity, possibility, right? Two very different mindsets when it comes to the game of business and money. Who do you think's going to be more successful? Let's say financially successful, and let's just say generally successful in their life, given that everything is exactly the same about these two people. It would be hard to imagine that the first twin in the scenario is going to have an easier time building their business, growing their career, and ultimately achieving whatever success it is that they are after in their lives. So if all we do is change one thing, not an external circumstance, but all we do is change one internal circumstance, which is our mindset, our outlook on the world, right there, in that little thought experiment, you can see, wow, that makes a huge external difference. But we are still skeptical. We still have a hard time seeing past our own biases about, spirituality and energy and vibration and all those things. So I like to look to science when I can to corroborate some of the beliefs that I have that I believe are serving me. So one of these proven scientific theories is something known as the observer effect, and it is a pretty popular one. You might already be aware of it, but if you're unaware of how the observer effect works within quantum physics, which is the science of the very fabric of reality, the subatomic and quantum particles that make up all physical world around us, and non-physical light and gravity, all these things play a role at a quantum level, but they function very differently at a quantum level. So in quantum physics, in the observer effect, everything, all particles exist in two forms. All right, they exist as a particle, which has a fixed space, a fixed place and speed and location. And that particle also simultaneously exists as a wave that has multiple potential locations and forms that it can take. And so everything kind of exists in what they call a superposition of these two states. Either it's a particle or it's a wave. And the observer effect, this really interesting thing that happens is when we observe this quantum system, is how they will refer to it. When we observe a wave, it becomes a particle. It's like the observer effect, the act of projecting your consciousness, observing, measuring a particle, turns it into a particle. So the desk around you, the light coming in, hitting your eyes, the sound, there are all these subatomic particles that are moving in and around us at all times. And it is the fact that we place our observation on them that solidifies them. But the minute they are not being observed, they actually exist in this superposition where they could be over here, they could be over there, they could exist this way, they could exist that way. This can be really difficult for someone that is really familiar with like Newtonian physics to grasp. It's just not how we've been taught that reality works. And still, that doesn't change the fact that at a subatomic quantum level, that is how reality works. That is the nature of reality. So how we observe the world around us plays some role in the way the world around us shows up, manifests literally in that moment that we observe the quantum system that is existing in a state of multiple potentials, infinite potentials. We lock it in to its particle state. The wave becomes a particle. due to the observer effect. And so this is just one of the, let's say, proven scientific theories that I can look at and say, all right, this thing that we refer to and call manifestation, that I'm still always, even to this day, a little bit skeptical of, and I think it's healthy to carry that skepticism. I think if you lean a little bit too hard, you drink too much of the Kool-Aid, you lose a level of groundedness. But I can be certain that the way reality works isn't just naturally everything is the way it is. Everything exists in a state of multiple potentialities, possibilities in a waveform. And then the fact that I or you or any of us observe it sort of locks it in place. You can, the age-old question, does a tree that falls in the woods make a sound? If no one's there to hear it, I don't know. I don't know what sound it makes. I don't know what happens. So let's just assume for a second that all reality is showing up as a projection, or as if reality was a blank canvas, a screen, like a movie screen. And you, maybe through your eyes, through your senses, through your ears, rather than receiving, maybe you're projecting onto this blank screen. And your life can be anything that you want it to be. And you've been programmed to believe and see the world a certain way. And yet that the way that we have been taught to see the world 100 years ago, 200, 1,000 years ago, most of what we knew to be true was disproven, and the physical world around us shifted, it changed. And so just holding on to those beliefs, that programming lightly, gently, is something that has served me very well and will serve you very well in being able to make your life malleable, to form, to shape, to play around with the results and the outcomes and the external world by allowing your internal world to be flexible. You could look at literally anything that is alive. One of the attributes of something that is healthy is that it is flexible, right? You take a leaf on a plant. How do we know that leaf's healthy? Well, one of the ways we can see how flexible it is, right? A human being, our bodies, the more flexible our bodies are, that is a sign of health. We get older and our bodies start to decay and we get stiff and rigid. You could say the same thing about your mindset, about your mentality, about your emotional state, allowing your emotional well-being to be flexible, allowing yourself, practicing staying positive in a time where the things around us maybe don't give us a reason to be positive, but staying positive anyway, that is a sign of mental health, of mental flexibility. And so I'm inviting you to be flexible in your beliefs. Don't hold on to any of them too tightly. It's going to serve you very well in today's lesson, but also in your life in general. Another proven scientific theory is something in neuroscience, which is called the Reticular Activating Systems, or RAS systems, or selective attention. So essentially your brain is designed to filter through millions and millions of pieces of information every second. And its job is to determine which pieces of information are important and which pieces are not important, because your brain, like a computer, only has so much processing power. And so we have these natural selective attention, certain biases or ways that we perceive the world where we pay more attention to one type of information versus another type of information. So apparently 88% of listeners have not left a review or subscribed. And I'm going to get right back to the podcast in just a second. But if you have found this episode helpful and you think that other people would benefit from listening, then all I ask in return is please just leave a quick review and subscribe. It'll take just 1 minute and it might help other tattooers and other artists find this podcast and help them out. So please, it would mean the world to me and it might actually make a difference for someone else. Thanks. So if you were looking to grow your business, if you were looking to get more clients, let's say you're even maybe daring to step into the realm of social media and embrace social media marketing so you can get more tattoo clients. Crazy thought, right? And when you first made that first post of you and it didn't get likes and it didn't get the attention that you wanted it, and you didn't get any clients in the first couple days of making that post, your brain might selectively choose to focus on the negative aspects of that. Oh, well, I didn't get the result that I wanted. I felt awkward and embarrassing. It was really uncomfortable. It took a bunch of time that I could have been drawing, and I didn't even get the client anyway, right? Sort of that selective attention, using whatever bits of information that we're bringing into our system and paying attention to that negative, right? Now, another person, let's say they have the same exact skill level as you, maybe the same style of tattooing, they go about their first post and it doesn't get the attention that it wants. They don't book an appointment right away. But instead of looking at why it's not going to work, they look at what they can do to improve. They look at what did work that they can replicate again, and they look for the gaps of like, oh, maybe people lost attention here. Maybe my hook wasn't good enough. Maybe people weren't clear on what I was trying to say. Maybe I could say it shorter or a little bit more clear in how I'm communicating. That same person is going to get the same information delivered to them, but their selective attention is going to pay attention to different parts, different aspects of that information. And those two people doing the exact same thing, receiving the exact same information, feedback, are going to have two very different actions after that. The next day, one of them says, fuck this social media thing. The other one is like, oh, I see I could have improved on this, even though I didn't do it perfectly. I did it far from perfectly. There's room for improvement, and I'm excited to learn. I'm curious, and I'm being playful, and I'm not really too attached to the outcome. Meanwhile, the other person is very attached to the outcome happening very soon. They don't have much patience for this, and they need to make more tattoos happen, so they go back to handing out business cards and drawing Flash and posting it because that worked in the past. And so their selective attention is going to filter for what they can do to survive. Meanwhile, the other person is maybe a little bit more focused on the bits of information that they can take and use to thrive, to grow beyond just surviving, just paying the bills. And so that reticular activating system, that selective attention that we all have, looking at what am I filtering for? Am I filtering for why something can't or won't work? Or am I filtering for why something can and will work or could work? And that alone, you want to talk about manifestation and your consciousness having an impact on your physical world around you. Right there, you can see that simply taking time to create flexibility. Meditation is one of the best tools, and we're going to do a quick little meditation in a little bit together that I think is going to have a massive impact on the rest of your life. Just this one short meditation that we're going to do together. And if you can't meditate right now, you can still listen along to the guided meditation. I think it'll still make an impact. You can always come back later. But meditation is one of the most powerful tools that we can use to create flexibility in our mind, because your mind is naturally going to try to find thoughts and latch onto them and pull them apart and extrapolate and dive on in, and it's trying to figure out how to do XYZ. Very often, those thoughts are hardwired for survival, just getting by. Your brain evolved not to thrive, but to survive. And so the way we naturally approach life is very often on a, what's going to get me to tomorrow? What's going to get me to the end of the month? Not what's going to allow me to build a life beyond my wildest dreams and, make a big impact on the people around me and my family and be able to retire and buy a house and go on vacation and travel. No, let me just figure out how to put one foot in front of the other and get to the end of the month so I can pay the bills. So when you're meditating, you're not shutting off your thoughts. That's impossible. Don't even bother trying to do that. You're noticing, you're becoming aware of that nature of the mind to find an idea, latch onto it, play around with it, get distracted from the present moment, from your breath. And all you're doing is the moment you notice that, you let it go and you bring your awareness back to your breath. Now, a second later, it might go off on something else, or it might go back to that same thought. And again, you bring it back to the present moment. And in doing that, you're like working out this muscle, this mental muscle, to choose the thoughts that you think or don't think. Literally being able to turn off thoughts. Right now, let's do a little quick exercise before the meditation. I want you to not think about a pink elephant. What did you do? You immediately thought of that pink elephant. Okay, now I want you to stop having thoughts altogether. You can't simply just stop having thoughts. Maybe there's a brief moment, but just in the forcing of telling your brain to stop doing the thing that it naturally does, there was some thought in there. Maybe the thought was, I'm not thinking any thoughts. We're not talking about that in meditation. We're talking about putting your awareness on your awareness. Like you have this awareness of the world, you have these thoughts. Are these thoughts even really you? If you have thoughts that you don't want to have, who's the you that doesn't want to have the thoughts? And are the thoughts really you if you don't want to be having them and yet you are having them? These are the types of questions we ask ourselves in spiritual practices, in looking at who we are. And this is why I inevitably end up needing to tie spirituality into my business practices, because it's asking myself these types of questions. Who am I really? What really is out there beyond myself, my consciousness, beyond the physical realm? That kind of honestly gives me quite a lot of peace in dealing with the physical realm and dealing with handling the 3D problems that I encounter on a daily basis, building that calm that is not dependent on the external circumstances looking a particular way, but cultivating the skill to be able to feel calm and be at ease and actually feel a pleasant sense of satisfaction and joy and bliss, even when life doesn't look the way I want it to. That's a very powerful business tool. And that is a tool that I've learned through my meditation practices. And it's served me in every area of my life. All of these things, money, marketing, time, business, art, they all become mirrors reflecting a part of you back at yourself, and your relationship with money, with business, with time. That is a very good mirror. It's a very, very good mirror to reflect back to you a part of the way you relate to yourself. The way you relate to money, to time, to marketing, to energy is a reflection of the way you relate to yourself, of your own relationship with yourself. So now we have, okay, nothing is quite the way it exists in the quantum field. And psychologically, our brains are just filtering through all this information, looking for the information that's going to prove whatever cognitive biases we have, which ultimately aren't the truth anyway, and are really just there designed to keep us surviving and not really initially, without practice and intention, designed to have us thrive. We can't really rely on the Newtonian model of physics, the material model of reality. These things have become so loose, so vague. The walls around them are blurring. What is reality? What is money? What are these numbers on a screen? Are they anything other than a story that I believe and you believe, and we all believe this crazy story about money? And it's like this crazy game of telephone where one person believes this about money and the other person believes this, and neither of them are right. I'm not right. You're not right. The more loosely we can hold on to all of our understanding of reality around us, the easier it becomes to play and experiment with the realm of manifestation, which, like we said, you're doing all the time. You're doing it right now. So I look at it as like, let's say we had a pool table, and all the pool balls on the table are like the particles of reality making up the physical world around me. And the back, left, right, whatever, the back, this pocket over here in this corner, that is a cabin in the woods, and a family and a partner and friends and a rewarding creative practice, everything I want to manifest, right? And then there's all these other pockets, and they lead to other possibilities, other worlds. Maybe some of them are kind of like that. Maybe some of them are not like that at all. All I'm doing when I'm practicing journaling or meditation or reciting mantras, all I'm doing is I am slightly leaning the table. I don't know if you can see my hands, but I'll exaggerate it. I'm slightly leaning the table ever so gently, and sometimes more than gently, in the direction that I want the particles, I want the wave function particles to manifest, to collapse into the particle in the version of life that I'm looking to create. I hope I'm making sense here. I hope that's helping. I'm trying to, and look, here's what I'll say. If this isn't clicking for you, that's okay too. Sometimes we have to let ourselves be confused. Rarely human beings just like allow ourselves to sit in confusion without making it right or wrong that we're confused, or immediately dismissing something simply because we're confused by it. So I want you to consider this conversation that I'm having with you, with myself, is not one that I'm needing to convince you of anything. It's not one where I'm trying to prove to you some truth that if only you'd believe it, everything would be different. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm looking to plant a seed, and that seed, depending on where your mind is at the moment of listening to this, might be fertile soil, and this idea might completely take off and transform. You might have even heard of or been familiar with some of these things, and all we're doing is reinforcing and watering ideas that have already been serving you. And you're hearing me and you're like, wow, that's really affirming to hear Ryan, who I like his podcast, he's saying the same thing. And that can have that one outcome on this seed that I'm planting, that we're just nurturing and cultivating that fertile soil. And for some people, these ideas, the way you've been thinking up until now, again, not right or wrong, good or bad, it's just not really fertile soil for these ideas, and they might take longer to grow, to impact your life. But if you trust your gut, if you have a intuition, I'm a big believer in trusting your intuition. If you have some intuition that something about what I'm saying here is going to lead you to living a more fulfilling, happier, and more abundant life, then just allow yourself to be confused and listen anyway, and maybe revisit this episode. So, we've broken apart the quantum realm, the physical realm, the mental realm. What do we actually do? What do we do here? Well, one, if you haven't checked out my lesson, I did a podcast episode on limiting beliefs. Definitely check that out. There's a really good exercise in there, which I find that just simply reciting mantras and affirmations doesn't quite cut it if we don't do that internal work to dig up the belief systems, essentially the mantras you've been reciting subconsciously your entire life. If we don't do that work, then we're just putting icing on a mud pie. And we could say, oh, I am a flow of energy and money flows to me easily and effortlessly, and it won't make any impact on your life because deep down, you're just putting icing on a mud pie and you don't truly believe that. A better practice than simply just reciting kitschy, trendy mantras that you find on Pinterest is to actually get into the feeling. Not just the words, not just the thoughts, but the feeling. Human beings, if we are ruled by anything, if there's any one thing that rules your life, it's your emotions. and your ability to impact your own emotional state, not reliant on anything external, but simply through your own efforts of practice. Literally, you can go from, and I'm talking as someone that has been diagnosed with treatment-resistant depression, who had to go through 12 treatments of electroconvulsive therapy and years of therapy and medications and all this drama. I've been off of all medications for over 10 years. I've been drug-free for 10 years. I've had a sip of alcohol in, almost 12 years now. I'm proof that if I can change my emotional state, and that can dictate new actions and lead to new results, I don't think there's anyone that can't do it. And so let's do an exercise. Let's prove this. Let's actually sit here and take some time. And so what I'm going to do, and I am going to invite you to, if you can, while listening to this, get comfortable. Sit down. If you've been cleaning the house while listening to this or drawing, just take 6 to 7 minutes to put all that stuff down. I promise it'll be there when you come back. And whatever you're doing, you're probably doing it with some intention that it improve the quality of your life or your job, or it makes you more money, or it cleans your apartment or house so that you can have more peace. Use these next 6 to 7 minutes to create that peace, that joy, that abundance and fulfillment in a slightly different way. I promise you it'll be worth it. And if you can't meditate, that's fine too. If you're driving, don't meditate. Just listen along, do the exercise anyway. I am going to walk you through the most perfect day. Let's call this the most perfect day meditation or exercise. This is something that I learned from a manifestation coach that I worked with, this guy, Matt Cook. You can check him out on Instagram. He's phenomenal. And the experience of working with him was life-changing. And so I'm going to give you some prompts to just think about the most perfect day. And we're going to start in the morning. We're going to go to the middle of the day and the evening and the night. And I want you to get into the picture. I want you to envision it. And what I really want you to pay attention to is, what are the sounds? What are the smells? What are the colors, the lights, the sensations that go along with this most perfect day? Because those are going to be the most closely tied to the emotional parts of your brain and your body and your nervous system. And by regularly staying clear and present on the life that you are creating for yourself, not attached to it, but just intentional, right? High intention, low attachment. Like, this is the life I'm creating. I don't know how I'm going to get there or when it's going to happen, but I know that I'm going to do it. Highly intentional, very low attachment. Not only will you increase the odds that all the pool balls fall into the pocket that you want them to fall into, but even if they don't along the way, you have so much more fun and joy and peace on the journey while you get there. So I'm going to get right back into it, but real quick, I wanted to let anyone who's feeling uncertain about your financial future know that, one, you are not alone. I speak to hundreds of tattooers and artists, small business owners all around the world every year, and it's very common to feel overwhelmed, confused when it comes to saving, investing, taxes, and all that stuff. And two, if you're looking for help with this stuff, I want to make it very easy for anyone who is serious about taking control of their financial future to book a one-on-one call with me and get clear around what actions you can take to build financial security and freedom. So if you're interested in that, or you know someone that might be, you can hit the link in the show notes below to book a one-on-one financial future session with me personally. Now, I do charge a small fee for this, but I want to make it as accessible as possible. I also want to note that I take about 5 or 6 of these calls per month, so availability is limited, but I would love to get to chat with you and see how I can help. I'm also going to invite you to speak something, to make a declaration, speak something out loud. You could call it a mantra. The word mantra, by the way, all it means is instrument of the mind. It's a Sanskrit word. It means instrument of the mind. So you could look at a mantra, and if you're worried that you're going to go broke, maybe that's your mantra, right? Oh, This is it. I'm going to go broke. Oh, I'm not going to pay the bills this month. Right? You might be repeating that mantra for weeks, months, or years. That's the instrument that your mind dances to. And so we're just going to change the instrument, change the tune, and that will change the dance that your mind does, and that will change the actions that you take and change the life that you live. So I'm going to give you something to declare during each step of the way, and you can always come back to this part. We'll mark this on the podcast if you want to just come back to the meditation and do it alone in the future. I highly recommend that you do. And with that being said, I want you to get grounded, and wherever you're sitting, or if you're walking, that's perfectly fine, but just get into your body. We normally have our awareness, our mind, our consciousness very located in our head. And I want you to just move it down a little bit into your body. Start to feel your throat and your chest, and your shoulders. Maybe stretch them out a little bit. Take up a little bit more space, a little bit more room. Give yourself permission to take up space in the world. And I want you to take a couple deep breaths in through your nose. We're going to hold it at the top and breathe out. You can breathe out through your mouth. I just want you to do that 2 more times, using your breath to calm your nervous system and your mind, bringing your awareness into your body. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. Breathe out. One last time, in through your nose. Hold it. And breathe out. And now I want you to transport yourself to the most perfect morning that you can imagine. Where are you? Where do you wake up? What do your surroundings look like? Are you home? Are you traveling on an adventure? Who are you with? And what do you smell? To slowly move through this perfect morning. Are we having breakfast? Are we talking? Are we sitting in silence? Maybe we're listening to music. Just be there. Allow yourself right now to be in this most perfect morning. When you really got that image in your mind, I want you to take a deep breath in and out. I want you to say, either in your head or out loud, I am grateful. 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 And just bathe in that gratitude. Just allow that gratitude to flow over you. Feel it. wave of gratitude. And now that we've completed this most perfect morning, what does the most perfect day look like? What are you doing with this incredible day? Are you making art? Are you going for a hike? Are you spending it with friends or family? Are you spending it with no one? How do you want to spend the most perfect day in your life? Maybe you want to do some work and then you go for a hike later. Maybe you want to play music with friends. Maybe you want to go to the beach. Maybe not. But I want you to presence yourself right there, doing whatever your heart desires to do on this perfect day. Feeling every sound, every taste, temperature. Where are you? What does it look like? And what are you doing? You are doing it. And I want you to take a deep breath in, and I want you to say out loud and declare, I am here, I am doing it. 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 And just bathe in that feeling of doing exactly what you want to do. Exactly how you want to do it, with who you want to do it with, for as long as you want to do it. Just be right there. Now, we've lived this wildly perfect morning, an incredible day. What is the most perfect way to relax and reflect on this incredible day you had? Do you go out to dinner with friends? Do you go on a late night evening walk? Maybe you go to a sauna or a hot tub and just lay back and bask in the accomplishments of the day, in having lived the day exactly as you would have designed it. Just be right there. Who are you with? What sounds do you hear? Is there laughter? Is there music? Is there peace? Just being in that moment where you have won the day. And in that moment, reflecting on this beautiful day you just lived, that you created, I want you to say out loud, I deserve this. 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 And just take a deep breath and bathe in that feeling. Feel it. Feel it in your chest, in your throat, in your head, in your shoulders, in your fingertips, in your toes. I deserve this. You do deserve it. You deserve every bit of this feeling. Now that you live this beautiful morning and perfect day, you've relaxed, you've reflected on what a glorious day we just had. What do you do to wind down and really wrap the day up? Read a book in a quiet corner, sit by a fire. Maybe we just watch a TV show with someone we love. Just be there. It's present. It's this life that you created, that you get to live, that you get to share with the people that matter most to you. Just stay in that moment. The day is behind us and a comfy bed, a soft pillow awaits us. Maybe we crawl into that bed. We lay down and we pull the covers up over us, and in that moment we think to ourselves, I am proud of myself. And we say it, we tell ourselves, I am proud of myself. 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 I'm proud of myself. I am 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 proud of myself. Just bathe in that feeling. Feeling of gratitude, feeling of doing the life that you created, that you deserve, that you're proud to be in. Just bathe in that feeling. You've done it. You've created the most perfect day. You know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. And now all there is to do is to live that day. Maybe we can live parts of that day. Maybe we already do live parts of that day. All there is to do is appreciate and acknowledge in every way how that day is an authentic expression of who you are. Share it, inspire other people to live their lives however they see fit, knowing that anything is possible. There's nothing stopping you from creating that life. Hold on to that vision. Journal it, write it out, talk about it, share it, meditate on it. And that's how you reprogram and rewire your brain to manifest the life that you've always wanted. Thank you for doing this meditation. I hope that it leaves you feeling a lot lighter, a lot happier, a lot more fulfilled in this moment without having to change anything around you. And I hope that you revisit it. It's here whenever you need it again. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to the Artful Dollar Podcast. I hope that this episode was enlightening and eye-opening. And whether you've been on your own spiritual manifestation, enlightenment journey, seeking liberation, seeking moksha, or maybe you're just coming across this stuff for the first time and it's piquing your interest and you're excited and you're curious. I hope that this episode was a helpful next step on your path, on your journey. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day. Take care. All right, if you found this episode helpful, one of the best ways for you to help other artists is to share this episode. Leave a review and subscribe. It helps other people find my channel, and you never know what a difference it might make for someone else. Plus, I will forever be grateful for your support, so I just want to say thank you and have a great rest of your day.